Hi there! In this video I'm going to show you how I made this matching custom order. As you can see, this set is made of a corset belt, some bracers and a hairpin. First step in most projects is tracing the pattern onto the leather, and afterwards I cut it all out. I use a utility knife for this because this works for me. And I also finish up the edges. To make all these straight edges nice and round for beveling, I use the edge planing knife for this. And yes, this is very satisfying to do. Alrighty, then it's time for tooling. So tooling is done wet, so first I wet all the pieces of the leather that I'm working on right now. There is a thing as too wet, so it's finding the golden middle way of wet and dry. This is something you learn by doing and doing and doing again. Anyways, then I use my swivel knife to cut in the pattern. This is a quite easy pattern because it's all free-handed veins of the leaves. So I use my swivel knife to freehand those and then use the little spoon tool to push down all the leather that's around the main veins. Then I just use my swivel knife again to enhance the smaller veins. So also when wet, I use my beveling tool to make all the round edges that are supposed to be round more even round. So for example on the corset belt they have straight edges, so those are beveled to make them soft and not as sharp. And I continue this pattern on all the works, and as you can see they line up very nice. Once all the pieces have dried completely, it's time for color. So I am using a alcohol-based ink for the main base. It is a mossy green color, and that's put on twice on all the pieces. Since I mix all the inks myself, every time I make a leafy mossy green, it's a different shade of green. So if you want a set, it's best to make it at the same time so I can make sure all the colors match perfectly. So this is me putting on the second layer. As you can see, it's already lightened up a bit after it's dried. So the second layer is just to make that color a little bit more vibrant. So now it's on to airbrush. This is also an ink. We used black ink for this to make the veins pop out a bit, to make them a bit darker. Airbrushing is very fun to do, and I love the way it just makes the veins pop. So the hairpin and the arm bracers have these thicker veins that I will just make a bit darker with some acrylic paints. And this makes the painting all done, so it's time to finish. This is an acrylic based finish called Resin. It's added on top and on the bottom. To make these veins stand out even more, I add a layer of antique. This is a black antique that is added on the front of all the pieces so that it becomes a nice black accent in all the cut veins. Then I wipe off all the excess so that it only stays in these veins. It just finishes the whole coloring part. So now it's just another layer of Resin to seal it all in, and then we're off to the hardware. This basically means holes for rivets and holes for rings. First I make all the holes and then I wet the pieces on the back so I can form them to make the shape of the belt and the shape of the arm bracers. Once this dries, then it will stay in the shape we put it. So I put the rivets in and place them on top, and then I only have to smack them shut. So for the arm bracers, it's basically the same thing. We want them shaped and then the holes to put two of the leaves together, so that you have two leaves on one arm. These leaves are held together with two rivets. So since we are using an elastic to hold these bracers up, we need some rings to put them through. So I'm making the holes over here, and then I will put some rings in. Each side gets 3 rings, so that is 6 for one bracer, and it means 12 rings for the whole piece. And also 3 on each side of the corset belt. And then I'm setting the rings with my spindler machine. So I put the rings on the right attachments and then I pull it towards me so that the rings are set in place and they don't go anywhere. So now I'm putting the lace and elastics in. I always make it way too big so that the customer can cut it at the right size. And don't forget to burn off the edges of the elastics, because otherwise they will fray. And then after an off-screen balming of some beeswax and balm, it is all finished. So this custom order is now ready to be worn at festivals or with the cosplay of their choosing.
So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you would like a custom order, you can just message me and we will make it work. So thank you!